A wonderful morning to everyone who has joined in for today's session. On behalf of Manage Engine family, I would like to extend our sincere thanks to all our customers, partners, and users who are currently evaluating our products. Thank you very much for joining and welcome to Manage Engine Desktop Central free training. In this session, we will be looking at the endpoint management and security solutions. In this whole free training, this is the second week. So we'll be looking into the endpoint management and security solutions. Let me introduce myself. My name is Santosh Narasimhamurthy, and I'm part of Manage Engine Unified Endpoint Management and Security line of products. And I'm a technical evangelist carrying more than 10 years of experience in this field and helping customers to make right choice when it comes to unified endpoint management and security. When I say endpoint management and security from Manage Engine, we offer the following products. So we have distinguished between security and management. At Security Suite, you have vulnerability management, patch management, browser security, device control, which is a data leak prevention solution, Patch Connect Plus for people who are using SCCM, application control for a comprehensive application management. On the management side, you have Desktop Central, which is actually a suite of all these, both security and management together. We have Desktop Central, which has everything in it. If you're looking for just the mobile device management, we have MDM. We do have Remote Access Plus for remote management. And Desktop Central is available for MSPs as well. You have a comprehensive imaging solution as well. This is a portfolio of endpoint management and security line of products, different products that are available under Unified Endpoint Management. In today's section, we will be more focusing on the security side of the endpoint management. Welcome to Desktop Central training. Let's look at the training schedule. We are on the week 2 and discussing about the unified endpoint security. We have completed patch management in the past week. In case if you have missed it, please feel free to go to the link that's shown on the bottom of the screen and go to desktop and server management. You should be able to go to the video link and you can watch it there. But in case if you'd like to register for the upcoming events, you can do it on the same link, on the link that is shown on the bottom of the screen. We have software management next week, asset management followed by that, and remote control, finally onboarding setup and configuration of Unified Endpoint Management. And we also offer free participation certificate for this entire series. If you are going to participate in the whole series, you will get it at the end of the series, meaning December 15th is the series end. So you will get the certificates by either 16th or 17th of December. We will consolidate all the attendance that you have done through this series. What are the different modules that you have attended? We'll consolidate and send it as a single certificate with all, including all the modules. In case if you would like to register for the upcoming events, please feel free to go to the link that is shown on the screen. Week 2, Unified Endpoint Security. We're going to focus more on security line of products. This is my agenda that I have for the next 45 minutes. Probably the first 5 to 10 minutes, we will talk about how to manage the distributed workforce, what is Desktop Central is all about. For this will be for people who are evaluating our products, and then followed by CIS top 5 critical security controls, how you can achieve compliance, security compliance through Desktop Central Manage Engine, Desktop Central Security add-ons, which is your Vulnerability Manager Plus, application control, browser security, and BitLocker. So we're going to take a couple of examples and see how this top 5 critical security controls is addressed within the product. And I'll be explaining each of those security add-ons from there. And finally, we will be talking about the BitLocker management, secure browser security, data leak prevention by Device Control Plus, and we will be answering your questions live as well. So all through the presentation, if you have any questions, feel free to post it on the Q&A. I have an expert panel who will be answering your questions live today, but also at the end of the session, I will be consolidating all the questions that is received and try to answer most of them based on time. So if you have questions, keep it coming. I will go ahead and answer it at the end of the session. In the meantime, our expert panel is also there to help you out. With that, let's go into the training. Now, what is Desktop Central? Now, Desktop Central is a unified endpoint management. If I have to say what is unified endpoint management, a famous reviewer called Forrester says that a unified endpoint management is a solution that can provide centralized policy engine for managing and securing employee laptops, mobile devices, all from a single console. So if you're able to manage all the devices from a single console, then you pretty much fit under the unified endpoint management program. What is this unified endpoint management? This unified endpoint management from Manage Engine has both traditional management and modern management together in one suite. You will be able to do traditional management and also modern management. Things like patch deployment and also doing OS update for modern devices, modern operating systems. You can do application management in a traditional way of installing the application and also distributing the applications through store, play, and different other centralized, application deployment management feature. You will be able to use it in the modern management. Configuration versus this profile distribution, you have both in place. So you get the traditional management as well as the modern management for the modern OSs along with this unified endpoint management. So Windows 10 and Mac OS plus the imaging OSD OS imaging solution, not just about deployment. You have options to reset those devices and initiate recoveries through scripts as well. Comparing to remote management, you also have tools plus the geo tracking and geo fencing feature for the modern operating systems as well. So this is the unified endpoint management that we have, and let's look at the features that it offers. It has the vulnerability management, patch management, data loss prevention, data leak prevention rather, web protection, browser security, device compliance, application management, asset intelligence, remote management as well. Altogether, you can do all these features in Desktop Central Unified Endpoint Management. And it's offered in cloud, on-prem, as well as for MSPs as well. The enterprise IT can choose which features they want in a separate product-wise point products as well. In today's section, we will be talking about these security add-ons, which comes along with the unified endpoint management. We offer application control, vulnerability management, device control, BitLocker management, and browser security. So with all other management features, these are available as an add-on into your suite, or if you'd like to have these security features on a standalone. For example, if you just need vulnerability management, there it is available as separate standalone product as well. So it's available in both the editions. And we'll be focusing more on the security add-on today. Why Manage Engine Desktop Central? Why should I go for it? There are several reasons why you can go for Manage Engine Desktop Central. A couple of them is because we've been continuously reviewed and we have been awarded for the Gartner Peer Insight Customer Choice Award in the consecutive years. As you can see, for more information, you should be able to go to the link that's shown on the bottom of the screen for more information. And that will give you customer reviews, what our customers talk about the unified endpoint management. You can give your reviews as well. With the unified endpoint management, I can manage different endpoints. What are the different endpoints? Laptops, desktops, mobile phones, tablets, point of sale equipments like embedded OS and other point of sale equipments, browsers, and servers as well. So these are the different endpoints that you will be able to manage with Desktop Central Unified Endpoint Management. What are the supported operating systems? We pretty much support all Windows and then Mac and then Linux operating systems as well. I've tried to put all those operating systems in a list here. And in case if you do not have any flavors of Linux or any operating systems that's not in the list, feel free to contact our support. The support email is there at the bottom of the screen. You can get in touch with us. We will help you out to see how we can support the other operating systems. So these are the list of operating systems that we support now. So that's all about what is Desktop Central in terms of supported operating systems and features. Now, are you equipped to manage a distributed workforce? That's a question that's asked to us during the pandemic, and it's going to be there on the post-pandemic as well. Desktop Central can help you out in this distributed workforce. Let's say John is an IT manager who is responsible for managing this distributed workforce, and he can do that effectively with Desktop Central Unified Endpoint Management. As you can see on the screen, I have put in, based on an on-prem architecture, a simple diagram that shows how your on-prem server can manage the roaming users or the different remote locations, all from a single point. You have a head office that's connected to different offices using probably a VPN, or it could be using MPLS links and things like that. So you should be able to manage a on-prem architecture, or from a remote locations, all working from single location. You can manage that. And also during this pandemic, we have also evolved, right? Seeing the distributed workforce, we also have cloud architecture as well, where you should be able to manage all your endpoints on the internet, including those that are connected from remote locations or head offices, all from a cloud architecture as well. So we offer both cloud architecture as well as on-prem as well. Now, there can be a question: can Desktop Central be hosted on an AWS or Azure? Yes, you can host it on Azure or AWS. Or if you would like to use our own cloud managed engine cloud products, then you can very well sign up for Desktop Central and you can manage as well. So Desktop Central will cater both their needs. If you are looking for an on-prem solution that can manage different offices, you can do it. Or if you're looking for a cloud solution that can manage distributed workforce, you can do that as well. Both these architectures are possible. So as an IT personnel, we would have faced a lot of challenges in the past, during the pandemic and post-pandemic as well. I have just listed down some of the challenges that we usually face, from enabling work from home, access to the applications, restricting unauthorized access, giving extra authentication for applications, and bringing security compliance is one of the most important aspects as well. As we move towards more of back to office kind of scenario, where we will be facing a hybrid workforce, where some of the workforce will still remain hybrid, on the work from home, but a lot of them will tend to come back to the office as well. At this juncture, security will be a great question, and we should have a solid security policies in order to be compliant and make sure our devices are secured. So these are some of the challenges that we have, but one of them would be having a strong security compliance. When I say security compliance, let's move towards the product now. CIS says if you have these top 5 security controls that I'm going to list, you probably will have a reduced attack surface when it comes to ransomware attacks or attacks that comes from the threat actors. First one talks about inventory of authorized and unauthorized devices. They say, please make sure you have a list of devices that you're authorized. Same goes for your applications as well. List of authorized and unauthorized applications that should not be used in your organization. You'll have an authorized list that should be used within the organization. Followed by that, you need to have secure configuration for hardware and software. What do they mean by this is that you need to have strong policies when it comes to data leak prevention, how you're going to handle USB-based devices, how you're going to handle different applications, how you're going to handle when user wants to install something and if they require administrative privileges. All those secure configurations, how you're going to handle that. You need to have configurations for your hardware and software. that would be effectively in compliant with your policy. And then continuous vulnerability assessment and remediation. Should make sure you have a strong vulnerability assessment and remediation program that continuously assess your environment, gives you periodic report, and also gives you remediation as well. And finally, controlled use of administrative privileges. How effectively you can reduce the use of administrative privileges for the users, but still enable them for remote work while they're at home without hampering the productivity, and still get a hold of controlling the administrative privileges. So these are the top 5 critical CAS controls that CAS says would typically reduce your attack surface when it comes to ransomware or other attacks. So the first one I want to go about in this circle. So we have framed in, if I have to go for a CAS compliance, then I have to put my endpoints on a lockdown with all the security measures in place, just like how you lock yourself down during the COVID time to protect yourself from the COVID. Similarly, you can lock the endpoints with different security features so that they don't catch up any threats while they are in remote workforce. So these are some of the security features, and we'll be discussing one by one as well. The first one would be the vulnerability management. Comprehensive vulnerability management is the first key security measure that's available with Desktop Central. Let me take you to the product. So this is Desktop Central console, which has all the management and security add-ons in it with all the security features. You have threats and patches, which includes vulnerability management along with patch management, and you have browser security. Here you have browser security, you have application control, and then you also have BitLocker management, and followed by device control as well. These are the 5 different security add-ons or security features that exist within Desktop Central, along with other management feature as well. This is the dashboard that you can see. Now, how do I get this for existing people who are using Desktop Central? If you say, I do not see these 5 different security add-ons, how do I get that? Very simple. You can click on the admin. You can click on the admin. On my right-hand side, you can see Endpoint Security add-on. When you click on that, you will have the option to enable security add-on for you. So mine already is licensed for it, so it shows me the license details. But if you are going to enable it for the first time, it will have enable disable option. You can go ahead and enable it. And once you enable it, first 30 days, you will have it for, you can evaluate it. It's free for 30 days. Once you evaluate that, then you can decide whether you want to move towards a free edition, or probably you want to purchase it further as well. So once you enable it, you should be able to see all those tabs: threats and patches, browser security, application control, device control. All those options will be available for you. So our first thing is vulnerability management, a comprehensive vulnerability management program that could assess and remediate vulnerabilities. So we will have threats and patches. The patch management, we have seen it in the last week's video on the webinar. We had a comprehensive training that talked about how to deploy patches, how to take reports of missing patches, how the agent works, and things like that. So if you missed it, you can view that. So I'm not going to touch more on the patching side, where it patches the known vulnerabilities, where you have application vulnerabilities that has patches, how to patch them. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about other vulnerabilities that are present at the machine. Apart from the known application vulnerabilities, there will be other vulnerabilities that we scan for as well. In order to do that, I have taken a couple of examples. The first one is, how do I disable legacy protocol TLS version 1.0, which is a vulnerability at an endpoint. So here at the vulnerability management, there is a classification called system misconfiguration, in which we will be scanning the machines based on CAS and STIG compliance, and we'll be grading them and showing the different vulnerabilities that are present at the system. The first example that we saw is TLS version 1.1 protocol. If a machine has it enabled, then you will have to deploy a configuration to disable it. So here on this list, as you can see, the third point that says TLS version 1.1 is enabled, and we give you information also about what is this vulnerability and why is it vulnerable and things like that, and what will be the post deployment issues that you might have. I mean, counter effects or side effects of disabling those disabling those protocols or taking action. Basically, if you're going to take any action from here, remediation process, what's going to be the counter effects. So if you want to remediate it, you click on deploy configuration and it will immediately go ahead and disable it for you. So that's one example of SSL and TLS security. You have a lot of other categories: Chrome hardening, OS hardening, logon securities, application account privilege management, things like whether legacy, I mean, whether the default administrator account is enabled or not. I should be able to disable it. How about outdated plugins are allowed to run on a Chrome level? BitLocker is not there. So we'll grade the machine with different vulnerability. I mean, the different vulnerabilities that are present. And how did we arrive at this vulnerability list? It is basically following a CIS and STIG compliance standards. And we have taken the top critical controls or top security controls that should be available in endpoints, and we are grading your endpoints based on that. Right. So, and if there is a solution available, we will tell you that you can go ahead and deploy it, like the one TLS version 1.1. It has a solution of disabling it. You can click on that and disable it. How about antivirus not being installed in machine, which is a vulnerability, right? And so this you have to fix it by yourself. I mean, but we will tell you the vulnerability. And something like password, secure password length, it should be configured at your domain level, GPO level, right? So this also we will tell you what to do. So if we are able to fix that vulnerability, we will do it right away from here. If it's not possible, then we'll tell you what to be done as well. Similarly, we run vulnerability scan on your web servers as well. So if you have web servers at your endpoints, you can you can scan all those web servers, and we'll give you the different vulnerabilities. The resolution for those vulnerabilities are also there. Say, for example, restricting access to a specific kettle in the home, and you can view the resolution, what to be done, and take actions based on that. Now, one of the real case scenario is, say, if you want to know how many machines, the first example that we took, TLS version 1.1, I want to see how many server machines are affected by it, right? Critical vulnerabilities, how many server machines are affected by these critical vulnerabilities. So I can add filters. That's why you have option called filters. And in this, I can say, I want to see how many critical vulnerabilities are there. So I go ahead and set for critical, add, and I go further and say operating system equals, I have one server operating system that is available, so I'm going for that, and then apply. So now in my list, it tells me there are 16 severe vulnerabilities that are present at my server machines, the different servers that I have. So this, I have to attack this chunk of machine if I want to proceed further. So likewise, say for example, your security team is asking for a report every month. I want to know how many critical vulnerabilities are present at a specific remote location or a specific office or at a specific operating system, like the server operating system. Can I do it? Yes, I should be able to do that as well. So I go to reports, and there is an option called schedule reports. So under the scheduled reports, let's say I will go ahead and schedule it saying critical vulnerability servers, right? And I go straight down and select the vulnerability report. In vulnerability report, which one do I want? So I'm straight going for the misconfigured systems. And in that, I'm adding a filter criteria, the small funnel-like options. You select that, and then you go ahead and select the severity equals critical. Again, you create another filter, and you can choose it based on branch office, based on a group, based on operating systems, however you want to. In my case, I'm choosing operating system just to mimic the server operating systems, which is most common, and I apply it. So now what this does is it will generate report of critical vulnerabilities, misconfiguration level vulnerabilities at my servers. Similarly, if you would like to go for system affected by zero-day vulnerability or other categories, you can go ahead and select those as well. Once you select the category report, then you scroll down, you have the option of how you want it, what format it has to be sent, what is the size of the file, to whom it has to be sent, and how often should it run. So I click on the configure scheduler. For me, it's monthly, so I select monthly, and for me, it should be like every day when I come to the work, I should see this. So 5 a.m. run the report and send it over to me. So first Monday of every month, run this schedule, and that's how you schedule it. And then you can go ahead and click on schedule. So what happens is it will run every month. First Monday, it will run and see how many critical vulnerabilities are there at your server, and it will email it to you. So that's how you take reports and remediate threats using the vulnerability management of Desktop Central. And you also have one more category, which is called the port audits. Now, this is more of an audit, not a vulnerability, I should say, where this gives you details about what are the different services that Endpoints has and what ports they are using. And if you see anything that is malicious, or if you feel something should not be there on the list, then you can take action based on that. So that's why you have port audits. So that's number one, security. So assess your endpoints. That's part of CIS control, continuous vulnerability assessment. You care, patch management is also taken care. Other vulnerabilities at the endpoints are also taken care using vulnerability management. The second endpoint is the application control. You remember the CIS control that talks about having inventory of authorized and unauthorized softwares, and make sure you have a control over all the applications. So in view of this, you have application control add-on within Desktop Central. So go to Desktop Central application control. Now, in traditional management, you can deploy the applications using software deployment. If you'd like to deploy any application, or if you'd like to uninstall something, you can do that through software deployment. If you'd like to know how to use software deployment, then that is the next training schedule. Next week, you can register for that. We will be talking about how to use this software deployment module and how to get benefit out of it. Now let's talk about application control. Once the applications are installed and it's given, how do I go about controlling them? So first step in controlling those applications, I have taken an example. Let's say you have a business applications like Microsoft Teams or Edge browser. Only these are the whitelisted application in your environment. So if you have a scenario like that, I have a list of whitelisted application, and I'll have to whitelist it. Other applications should not be allowed in my network. Let me show you how to do that in this application control. The first step is that you create computer groups. So how do I go about creating computer groups is that you have an option called custom groups. Where do I get it? So I go to admin. I can click on custom groups. On the far left, on the first column, you should see on the second option is custom groups. In custom groups, you should be able to create groups here based on computer or based on users. It could be static, unique, or dynamic. You can create groups based on dynamic variables, or just you can put different machines in one group and create static groups. So once you create the groups, then you can go back to the application control. So in my example, I'm going to take this London machines. So all the London machines, I have created one custom group, put all those machines in a group, call it as a London group. So I go to application control, and the second step that I'm going to do is group the application that I want to do, that I want to whitelist for this London group. So for this London group, I have to create a whitelist. Let's go ahead and create a whitelist. So in the example that we saw Microsoft Teams, and then you saw Edge browsers. So I go with product name, and then I type in Teams. You can see Teams coming up. So I choose the Teams application, and then I type in Edge. So I can see different Edge applications. So I select the Microsoft Edge there, and then the group is created. So that's it. Business application is whitelist has been created. Now, once you create the whitelist, now it's all about linking the list that you have created to the group that you have created. So you go to deploy policy on the left-hand side. Go there, click on associate, and then you choose the custom groups from here, the London groups that we created. And then you choose the business applications whitelist to be added. You choose that. And once you do that, you have to choose either of two modes. Let's say I have whitelisted the applications. How do you want to handle the applications that are not part of your whitelist, right? Either you can block it completely, say strict mode. If no other application is allowed to run apart from the whitelisted ones, or I can go to an audit mode, say, let's say you allow the other applications to run, but it reports to you saying, hey, apart from the whitelisted applications, there are several applications that the user uses. And what do you want to do about it? We call it as gray list. It's not in blacklist. It's not in whitelist. You put it in a gray list. Then you can decide whether you want to blacklist all those other applications, or you want to refresh your whitelist periodically. So audit mode or strict mode. In addition to that, it also solves one more problem for you, which is giving privileged access for end users. So most of the time, you give elevated privileges for users for them to run certain applications, right? That could be your business need. With your productivity should not be hampered. So you give these privileges to the end user. But giving them privileges will sometimes invite trouble. They might download something that you don't want, or they will install applications which is harmful for business. So to restrict that, options we have given here is privileged application list. What does it do? What is this privileged application list? Let me go to the bottom of the screen. I'm going to open it on a new tab. Privileged management. So I can give a list of applications that requires administrative privileges for running, that requires elevated privileges for executing. So you can go ahead and add this list over here. So once you add it, the user does not need any elevated privilege. You don't have to give you don't have to give them administrative rights. The user, whenever they try to run the application, this list of application, it will automatically elevate to administrative privileges. Our agent that sits there at the endpoint will do that for them for that session, for that application alone. Once he finishes the session, it will retract the administrative privileges. So by this, you avoid giving administrative privileges for any users. So this is an additional advantage that you get. So you can go ahead and say whether you want to associate privilege list, which means yes. So for that London group, I have whitelisted the applications, and also I have given privilege application list as well. And I have put it in audit mode. Once I do that, I can click on deploy. So by this, you can get a comprehensive control over your applications. Application controls will let you to whitelist, blacklist, as well as privileged application list can also be added to it. This is application control for you, right? So now you get the cover of the second CIS control that talks about software and hardware inventory. So we have asset management and software deployment as well. You can register for the upcoming events, upcoming webinars. We'll talk more about asset management and software deployments in the webinars to come. Application control takes care of how the application should be handled and what are the applications that should be allowed and what are the applications that should not be allowed. Those things are taken care by application control. Let's move on to the other solutions in the endpoint security lockdown, which is your browser security. Now, with the increase in cloud-based applications and more people moving towards web servers or web-based applications, So it's important to protect your browsers as well. So that in that view, you need a strong browser security. So how do I go about securing my different browsers? Now, these are the supported browsers for now, and we would keep adding this list as well. Why do the enterprise need a browser security? We need to protect these browsers from breaches and vulnerabilities. And I have to make sure policies are in place that would check my browsers every time the user accesses them. Now, in order to understand it better, I have taken again CIS benchmarks for browsers. You can look into CIS site to understand what are the different benchmarks that are available and how you can utilize our product to achieve those benchmarks. I have taken a couple of them to explain it, and in the same way, you can utilize the product to create benchmarks and make sure your browsers are secure. First one is about add-on management, how to enable, whether you allow the users to enable or disable add-ons. You want to control that, right? So it not only, let's go to the browser security. Browser security here. So like how it worked on application control, the same flow is what is followed in browser security as well. So you create a group of machines, the same London group of machines, you create a group, and then if you already create a group, no problem, you can use the same group, and then you create a policy, and then you match that policy to that group. That's it. The same flow continues for browser security, for application control, for device control, or even for vulnerability management for that matter as well. So all follows the same flow. You just have to create one group of machine and define different policies and apply those policies to that specific group. Now, in my browser security, let's say I want to create an add-on policy. So I go to policies. The first one talks about add-on management. So I click on create policies. Here, I can say don't allow the user to install the extensions at all. And you can say these are whitelisted extensions, and the user should be able to use, let's say, docs or probably sheets. You can let user install these add-ons into their browsers. But if you say allow them to install, but then block the permissions at the permission level. So if they are going to install certain extensions, make sure it doesn't do screen desktop capture or screen captures, does not allow any downloads, does not do page captures, does not allow access to your power or printers. You can't print anything. You can't access your USBs or copy anything. So if you would like to block those functionalities at a browser level, you can do that as well. So it's not about only blocking the extensions, but you can go granular control, blacklist certain. Let's say at your corporate environment, you don't want them to use YouTube, or probably if you think you want to blacklist any other add-ons, you can do that as well, right? You can add it as extension identifier from here as well, right? So that's add-on management. The second CIS benchmark that I've taken, create critical benchmark, is the Java permissions management, right? At browser security, we have a comprehensive Java manager under the policy. So I have created a lot of policies like block Java policy. I'm going to modify the same. So where you can see, say for example, for all the social networking sites, I want to block Java. I can do that, right? And I can group the social networking sites. And because if they're going to use games or view Java content on a Facebook or on any other social networking sites during the business hours, that might hamper productivity. So if you would like to block them, you can. But if you say on the other contrary side, I want to say all the corporate sites that I have, like website groups, all the corporate sites that I have grouped should run on a specific version of Java, right? That is also achievable. You don't go for blocking, but you go ahead and select a run on a specific version of Java. I say 6 version update 12 and above. Use those update to run the corporate applications. So I can do effective Java management. And not only these two, for that matter, all the benchmarks like threat prevention level, data leak prevention level, download filter level, or even web filter for that matter. So I can create web filters saying block the selected URLs or selected group of URLs, let's say the social networking, and then you say it should be blocked during the business hours. I can do that. Let's say it should be between 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. I can go ahead and create a schedule. So those sites will be blocked and you can show messages to them here as well, right? You can say allow the users to contact your admin for blocked page, or you can just show saying, hey, it is blocked. So you can create different policies, web isolation, browser lockdown. You can put like a kiosk mode for browsers. Only the selected sites you can view, other sites you will not be able to view. So similarly, you can create different policies, and the final thing is mapping these policies to the group of machines that we have created. How do I do it? I go to manage. So here is the London group that I have. In that London group, I click on the three dots on the right hand side and I say deploy policies. It's now asking me what are the policies that you want to deploy. So I've created 4 different policies at corporate side: download filter level policy, data leak prevention level policy, and different policies which I have created. I'm going to select all of them and I click on deploy. It will be associated to those group of machines that you have selected. That's simple as it. Now, if you would like to get more insights, that's also available. Say, what are the malicious browsers you have? I mean, malicious extensions in your browsers you have. You can. How vulnerable your browsers are. What are the machines? What you have to do about it? You can check those things as well. And not only at browser levels, we have custom. By default, we have reports, compliance reports, our own default compliance report, and we also have CAS compliance that we give by default. You can go into the CAS compliance and see how many machines are in compliant, how many are not in compliant, and what are those machines and what you should do in order to fix it. You can go here and fix those compliance issues as well. So this is browser security or locking down of browsers. The fourth one is about the device control, USB-based devices, secure configurations for your hardware and software. Data leak at a data leak prevention level. While I talk about this, I also want to mention something. We also have a comprehensive data leak prevention module that's coming up that will be added, where not only controlling the USB-based peripherals, but also controlling what data to be copied into different applications, how the data is being handled at an email or at an application level, at a browser level. So that module is yet to come, but the basic device control is available at the add-ons right now. So I go to device control. The flow is the same. You create a group of machines, which is the London group. Again, I create a policy. Now I go here, click on create policy. I can say whether I want to allow the removable devices. If I'm going to allow, then whether read-only permissions, or it has permissions to copy the files in and out, or if you want a specific extensions to be copied in and out, or what is the maximum size of the file that should be copied in and out. And it also has ability to shadow the file, enable file shadowing, meaning whatever file that you copy inside the USBs, it will take a copy of the file and it will keep it at a share for later audit. So if you want to enable file shadowing, that's available. File tracing is also available. What's the difference between these two is that file tracing, meaning it only takes the name of the file which is being copied, doesn't take a copy of a file. But if you enable file shadowing, it shadows the whole file, copies, and keeps it in a share. That's the difference. So file shadowing, file tracing, giving permissions to what files should be copied and what should not be copied, allowing permissions for certain devices or only for the trusted devices by the IT. You can give those policies from here. And not only that, if user wants to have a temporary access, he can do that as well. So from the agent tray icon, he can go ahead and view a device temporary access portal from which he can raise a request. From here, let's say he wants to use a disk drive and he wants to select any one of the drive. So I select one, add, So for the 3 hours, I need this to be open, and I enter the reason as testing, and I click on request. So it goes to the server from here, and on the server, you go click on temporary access. In temporary access, you can see the request that has come in. So as you can see on the description, testing, which is received just now. So you can go ahead and then click on modify and then deploy it for them. So you can approve requests that are coming from the users. You can also create temporary access for those users as well. You click on create and you should be able to create the same information and deploy it to those machines. So this is device control from Manage Engine. And keep in mind the data leak prevention module is also going to come, where it will be very comprehensive, checking all the PIIs and other sensitive information if they are uploading on the email or printing, or if they are sharing it within applications, uploading, downloading. All those will be captured in data leak prevention. That's the module that is yet to come. It will be released soon. The next endpoint lockdown that is essential is network access control. So the network access control module is not directly available on the desktop central server. Rather, it is available as a separate small tool. Now, if you like to have more information about it, you can go to the link that is shown on the bottom of the screen. That will give details about the network access control. Of course, in the previous patch management, we have discussed about it as well. So you can look into those videos for more idea about network access control. Network access control is a simple tool which is not available along with the server, but as a separate free tool that you can use with your agent to make sure you are compliant. And if the non-compliant devices are found, it will quarantine them. So you can read it on this link that is shown on the bottom of the screen. And finally, BitLocker management, comprehensive BitLocker management is also available. So here you go into BitLocker management. So you can create policies, enable BitLocker, disable BitLocker. You can encrypt only the OS drive or a specific used space only. Or if you would like to rotate the recovery key, I can do it. If you'd like to update the recovery key to the domain controller, I can do those things as well. Not only that, you can take reports of the status of the TPM for each machine. What is the status, encrypted or not? Those details are available. If you would like to retrieve the recovery key, that's possible as well. So I go to the retrieve recovery key option. I can enter the identifier, or I can search by computer names as well. So search the computer name, click on the recovery key details, and you will get the recovery key for that identifier. So that's BitLocker management from Manage Engine. So you have all these 5 different security add-ons that's available with the product at the moment. Now with that, I have come to the end of the session for today. And for the next few minutes, I'm going to try answer as much as possible for the live questions that comes up. So if you have questions, keep it coming. I'll try to answer all your queries. Do we have a DHCP server running? No, this is not a network management module. This is more of an endpoint management module. It does not include AD management or DHCP. For AD management solutions, you can probably refer to other Manage Engine products, right? That's one of the questions. What is endpoint security product built on? It's Java based. I'm not sure if you need more information specifically about how it is operated. We can probably get in touch with you separately to explain you that. anti-malware or antivirus engine build. So now our desktop central, as this question came up, what's the antivirus and anti-malware engine built on? So we are yet to release a module called anti-ransomware, which is in progress. You will see it in a couple of weeks. Watch out for the mailers. We have come up with an anti-ransomware module where it catches the ransomware and try to get back your information. So that module has been built. We have a separate driver that sits in just to answer this question. That the driver and that sits on the operating system level takes care of those activities. You can get in touch with us for more details on how this anti-malware or anti-ransomware works. Do we have an EDR solution? So our anti-malware, anti-ransomware module is the first step towards EDR solution from Desktop Central. So once you see anti-ransomware coming in, data leak prevention coming in, then you will soon see EDR solution coming in from Desktop Central as well. One of the common questions that usually comes up is, do I get the recording of the session? Yes. Once we finish it in the next couple of days, you will get this recording in your email, right? And the ETA on anti-ransomware, it's almost ready. It should be available by this quarter end or maximum by Q1 of the next year, but mostly this quarter you should get it released. But if you'd like to try that out early bird, just feel free to leave your details with us. We would get in touch with you, to give you more details on that. If the BitLocker has been triggered manually, do we have access to it? Yes. However you do, we will be able to get those keys for you. So can you show me how to enable endpoint security menu? Yes, I've shown this in the first part of my webinar, but I'll no harm in showing that again. So you go to admin, click on the admin. On the right hand side, you can click on endpoint security add-on and you will have enable and disable option here. You can go and enable it from here. For the release dates and ETA, we will get in touch with you over email. For EDR and for anti-ransomware details, we'll get in touch with you. Right? There's been a question about the ETA and how to get the information, so we'll get in touch with you over email. Do we have integrations of custom groups and ADOUs? Right now, you can only manually, map those groups to custom groups, but it is definitely there on our roadmap where there will automatic addition of machines to the custom groups from an AD structure is there in our roadmap. All right, with that, I think we have come to the end of the session. Probably we will be there to answer your questions over the chat for the next probably 5 minutes. And I'm going to finish my presentation here. Thank you very much all for joining the presentation. Please feel free to rate us on a scale of 5, where 5 being the best. When you exit out of the webinar, you'll be given the survey. Thank you very much for joining. And if you'd like to have a personalized demo of the products, please feel free to leave your details with us. We can schedule one-on-one sessions for you as a demo of individual products. And also the next training is about software management, software deployments on November 17th. You can register it register and get benefited. Thank you very much for patiently listening. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful day and week ahead. Bye-bye.